Enthusiasm is the foundation of creativity, productivity, and happiness. Motivation is the reason why we act, and when we act, we create movement, growth, and change. We feel involved, informed, and important. We feel powerful by experiencing how we can change the world, and we do more in our lives than we love. And all this gives our lives meaning and joy. Demotivation is like snow. The Inuit are said to have many words for snow. They are very familiar with it. They can appreciate the subtle differences between the different types. These distinctions let Inuit respond differently to different types of snow, depending on the challenges and opportunities that each particular type of snow presents. Most of us have just one conception of demotivation, which means that whenever you're unmotivated, you're likely to assume that you're struggling with the same problem. The truth, demotivation is a category of problems, containing many variations. When you have just one kind of demotivation, you'll apply the same old strategies whenever you feel unmotivated. For many people, those strategies look like this: set goals, push harder, create accountability checks that will push you, and run your life using to-do lists. These strategies are not effective for most types of downsizing, and in some cases you may not even be motivated. Basically, humility is more of an imperfect determination to act, and there are many reasons why you are in this position. Having more ways to categorize your demotivation will help you identify the real reasons for your reluctance to move on. Then you can choose the right tools and strategies to help you regain motivation. Here are 5 types of demotivation and strategies that can help you find your fire. 1. You're demotivated by fear. When you're afraid, even if you're entering territory that you've chosen to move into, a part of you is determined to avoid going forward. Fear slows you down and makes you hesitant and careful, which can be beneficial to you, but sometimes your fears are based on your imagination rather than on an accurate assessment of the risks in your reality. If your fear is big enough, even if you're also excited to go forward, the part of you that wants to keep you safe can successfully prevent you from going forward into territory that's both desirable and safe. How to get motivated again? To get motivated, you need to deal with your fear. Start by naming your fears so that they're out in the open. Remember to say a gentle thank you to your fears. They're trying to protect you, after all. Then question your fears. Why am I afraid of that happening? What are the chances that would really happen? Some of your fears will slip away now. Look at the fears that are left. What are they telling you about the research you need to do, the gaps you need to fill, and the risk management strategies you need to put in place? Honor that wisdom by building it into your plan. Finally, consider breaking down the changes into smaller steps and focusing on just the next few small steps. This will calm your fears. 2. You're demotivated by setting the wrong goals. Martha Beck has a great model for understanding motivation. She explains that we have an essential self and a social self. Your essential self is the part of you that's spontaneous and creative and playful, the part that knows what's most important to you. Your social self is a part of you that has evolved since you were born, learning tribal rules, and working hard to make sure you are safe by following your rules. We are all surrounded by the many messages that feed our social self, and we want to impress our tribes. When you feel unmotivated, it is because you set goals based on what your social self wants, and it distracts you from the direction your essential self wants you to go. Your important self uses demotivation to slow you down and separate you from the toxic goals you set. How to be motivated again? Take the time to reconsider your goals. Because your essential self is nonverbal, you can easily access your essential self through your body. Notice how your body responds as you think of each of the goals you're trying to work on. When your body, and particularly your breathing, shows signs of tightness and constriction, that's a pretty good indication that you're trying to follow toxic goals. If you get a constricted reaction, scrap your current goals and question all your stories about what you should do with your life. Notice what makes you smile spontaneously or lose track of time, and set goals related to that stuff instead. 3. You're demotivated by lack of clarity. When you haven't consciously and clearly articulated what you want, your picture of your future will be vague. We like what's familiar, so we resist what's unfamiliar and vague, and we stay with and recreate what's familiar to us. If you're not clear about what you want to create, then it makes sense that you'll lack motivation because you'd rather stay with your current familiar reality. How to get motivated again? If you want to create something different from what you've been experiencing, it's not enough to just know what you don't want. You need to know what you do want, and you need to articulate a clear and specific vision of what you want to create so that you can become familiar with that new outcome and feel comfortable moving toward it. Take some time to articulate what you want and why you want it. 4. You are demotivated by a conflict of morality. Your values are important to you in life. When you have a conflict of values, it means that there are 2 or more values that are important to you, but you believe that you cannot satisfy all the values in a given situation. In this situation, you feel contradictory and attracted in different ways as you try to find ways to get what is important to you. You may have a short stream of motivation to work on one thing and then lose motivation and start working on something else, or your motivation may be completely exhausted due to trying to deal internally. Conflict can easily exhaust you and suck up energy. How to be motivated again? You need to decipher the conflict of your values and play a mediator. In order to be able to play in the same team again, you have to get the parts you promote in different quantities. Start recognizing internal conflict. Take the paper and draw a line in the middle so that you have 2 columns. Write about 2 different directions that attract you, one in each column, and summarize them with an explanation of what each section requires. Now choose a column and divide it. Why do you want this part? What are you expected to get when you have it? Keep asking questions and writing down your answers until you feel like you've finally been hit by the result you want. Now do the same for the other side and see if you get to a level where the answers in both columns are the same. In the end, all your parts always want the same thing, because all of you are. Now that you know exactly what you want, you can look at the strategies highlighted in each section and decide which strategy is best. Often, when you are clear on exactly what you want, you will find new acquisition strategies that you have not noticed before. Sometimes through this exercise you will find ways to satisfy all your values, but sometimes it is not possible. If you take the time to think about your values and think that you have decided to prioritize a certain amount over your other values for a while, then this statement can reduce internal conflicts and your motivation will return. 5. You are discouraged by the lack of autonomy. We support autonomy. We all have a decision-making center in our brains, and this part of us needs to be used. Studies have found that this center of decision-making in the brain is less developed in people with depression, and that when you practice using this part of the brain and make decisions, depression usually subsides. Daniel Pink writes in his book Drive about research that shows that when it comes to creative work, there is some autonomy in deciding what we do, when we do it, how we do it. And who we do is the core. Stimulate and maintain enthusiasm, creativity and productivity. How to remotivate? Think about how much autonomy you have in relation to the goals you are trying to pursue. Are there areas where you feel firm and in control? Think about how you can gradually introduce more autonomy into your work, time, technology, place and team, and then as you work, talk to your manager and ask for more autonomy in some specific areas of your work.